What's going on, guys? Well, yesterday we played, today we cleaned. Let's get the Turbo GMC out and get it sprayed and washed down. What a mess. We got it all pressure washed down. We still need to hand wash it, but we're running out of time for right now, so that's a drastic improvement from what it was. We pressure washed the top side, the underside, everywhere we could reach, we pressure washed. My poor truck, we still have to hand wash it, make it look a lot better, but it just kills me to drive in that solid so hard on a vehicle. And we tried, you know, this is 2004 and it still looks pretty good. We definitely try and keep it as looking as nice as long as we can. So now we got the GMC cleaned up. Time to get back to work on the Project LX Extreme cab. I'm sorry, that's our donor cab. That's not the one we're using. So I think some people got confused on that in the last video, but this is the original cab that came off the wrecked Extreme. That cab does have rust in it. We are not using that cab. We're just stripping parts off of it. But anyway, here's our old stereo system wiring harness, and this goes right there. Taking this wiper cowl off, and they have these weird kind of push pins. They're kind of a push pin. It's the clip that goes in, and as you drive that centerpiece in, it spreads out. Now, they do have a Phillips, I'm not sure if you can see that, they have a Phillips head on them. They're plastic or nylon or something, and they very rarely, if you spin that, back out. They just sit there and spin. So you got to take a pair of needle nose pliers or something, grab the head of that, and pull that out so you can get that to release. But once you get them out, this just simply lifts off. Then we can get down in here and pop this transmission off so we can get the wiper motor out. And we're just gonna strip this cab, so we'll just unbolt this transmission because it's good wiper transmission, and get all that mechanism out of there. With a couple more bolts out, this one, and there's actually a stud and a nut here. Our whole heater box is now loose. These came off when we took our heater box outside heater box off. And remember, this is the hidden one. So if you're doing a heater core in these trucks, if you don't take that bolt out, as you can see, here's the dirt line where it's sealed. So this is definitely inside the box. If you don't take that out, you will fight that, and it won't come loose. It's actually, you know, bolted in the center. So that one and that one are the last two we had to take out. So this is all loose, so we'll pull that out from the inside. We do have one connection that goes over to that vacuum pod, so we'll unplug that, and this whole box will be out of our way. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this stuff stripped off the firewall, and this cab will pretty much be disassembled. With all these bolts, nuts out, there's two longer bolts. One goes up, one goes down. Hold it together right here. There's studs and nuts all through here, and there's one up underneath. So this thing is all loose now, so let's pull this off. Get that out of our way. We still have a wire hooked to it somewhere, so let's unhook that. Now we have that big bracket out of the way. Now we can get right down to everything else. So we got a couple ground wires to take out. We already took this. There's studs and nuts from that come up, loosen up from the outside. So we have this whole wiring harness bulkhead loosened up. We take these ground wires off. We will be able to fish that through the firewall. Here's our brake master cylinder and booster. We have 4 studs and nuts right there. We'll take them off. That whole thing will pop off from the outside. We do have the rest of the wiring harness that runs across the firewall here, and another piece of the HVAC system will pop out, and it's almost a bare shell. All right, as you can see, we got the wiring harness. There's a bunch of ground wires and just little clips that hangs off of, and just, you know, do whatever you have to fish it through. We got it kind of balled up here on the ground. The last part, there's actually a box, small fuse box, and a connector that bolts on right here. We took it off, and right here is actually when we took these doors off, like I said, this was a parts cab, and this, so we went ahead and cut these wires, and there are only speaker wires on this because this was not a power windows truck. And that's where I'm getting at. To change these trucks over to a power window truck, there's where your harness comes through. So if we pull that out, it goes right into this main harness, and it is the entire in-cab harness. So to correctly change these trucks over to power windows, power locks, you have to pull the dash, pull all this wiring harness off, and fish back through where the door opening is. So that's what we'll be doing on that truck over there, the black one, because it is a power windows cab, and that's why we're going to use the wiring harness. A lot of times GM will put two different plug options in, but for whatever reason, for the power windows, they decide not to, so it's a dedicated harness. So that is the only correct way to do it. So at this point, the last piece of the HVAC system is this piece right here. You take the rest of the bolts out, and it does seal, so you might have to pull a little bit, and this just pops out, and this is your fresh air feed. Once again, we have a giant mess we've ripped out of that cab. Firewall pad, all the interior plastic pieces like under the dash, wiring harness, brake booster, master cylinder, brake pedal, e-brake, and this is actually the whole mechanism that we're going to need for obviously our clutch pedal here. So we'll get that cleaned up and swapped over into the cab as soon as we get painted, and for right now we need to clean this mess up and keep going. I think we're actually going to cut this cab up, so we'll just chop the roof off around. Other than that, I think we have all the usable parts off of this cab. We will probably separate the rest of the frame that's still on here, take it off, and maybe be able to salvage a couple of the body mount bushings. Other than that, it's getting cut up and scrapped, which will give us some much needed room in the garage here. So with a little help from the multi-tool, DeWalt multi-tool, and the Sawzall, we got the windshield taken out. Made quick work of that. And now it's time to get the roof off this thing. Convertible S10, anybody? Making quick work of this cab. We actually have it cut completely in half, but it's still bolted to the frame rails that are left. So we're going to buzz back off these cab mounts, one there, one there, one there, so 3 per side, and then this thing will be in 2 halves. We got the frame pulled off and thrown outside, and like I said, we had it cut in 2 halves, so they actually balanced on top of each other, and I was able to just lift this piece up off that one and set it straight down. It's not too heavy. It's actually lighter than you would think it would be. So we might go ahead and chop this again straight down just to make them a little bit more movable, and we'll have 4 pieces of the cab then. Just get them out of here. All right, we got it in 2 more halves. Now we can just grab these. They're light enough. You can just grab them, pick them up, and move them. There we go. We got a big, nice, open, blank spot right here. Cab is gone. Well, there's one door off. And like I said, this was a power windows cab, power windows, power locks. So we are not cutting the harness on this. There's way too many wires there. So we fished it through the door. There's number 2 door off. Like I said, we fished our wires through on this side too. All right, guys, we started taking a couple bolts undone, and before I knew it, we were just working. So didn't film a whole lot. We got the whole dash out, obviously, steering column out. Really the whole inside of the cab stripped down except for the heater box, which we'll have to undo some bolts out here. Got the wiring pretty much undone. We have to fish this harness through because it goes under the dash, and it does have our power windows, power locks harness grafted into that, so we need that. Same way with over here. We got a bunch of stuff unbolted and pulled back. Here's the other side of the harness for the door. But we're well on our way to getting this piece of junk out of here too. So be nice to have that much more room in the garage. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Have a good day.